Hello friends, my name is Tame Ramya. I am a faculty of Anthropology in Deranatun Government College, Itanagar. Today I am going to talk on civilization, where I will dealing with the meaning, definitions and characteristics. Before going to my discussion, I will give you an overview of the discussion. First of all, I will discuss the meaning in terms of its literal and etymological sense, in terms of its practical interpretation or more in a narrower sense, and finally in terms of anthropological sense. Secondly, I will dealing with the definitions given by archaeological anthropologist and prehistoric archaeologist on civilization. Thirdly, I will dealing with the characteristics as given by V. Gordon Childe and Redman, where they mention about two major parts of characteristics, categorized into two major groups. That is primary characteristics, which they consider essential, and secondary characteristics, which they call likely to be. And finally, I will summarize the discussion, and at the end, I will give some references which I have used for my discussion and for my presentation. First, let's see what is civilization. A civilization, by and large, defined as an advanced state of human society with highly developed forms of government, culture, industry, and common social norms. Of course, not all scholars agree with this definition. In fact, there is much debate over what constitutes a civilization and what does not. Moreover, who determines what is advanced and what is not? In terms of its literal and etymological sense, civilization is derived from civilis or civis, an ancient Latin root pertaining to a citizen or inhabitant of a city. In more purest sense, civilization is the ability of humans to live together in social groupings. Or in more practical or narrower sense, it is usually interpreted as applying to the more recently evolved system of culture of the most developed modern races of humankind. Finally, in terms of anthropological parlance, civilization comprehends all the principles underlying social development in all stages of culture. So, in anthropology, we have L.H. Morgan, who given the cultural development of human society into three stages: savagery, barbarism, and civilization. So, civilization is the most advanced, final state of human development in terms of social, cultural, technological, mental. Civilization describes a complex way of life that came about as people began to develop networks of urban settlements. The earliest civilization developed between 4000 and 3000 before Christian era, when the rise of agriculture and trade allowed people to have surplus food and this economic stability. Many people no longer had to practice farming, allowing a diverse array of professions and interests to flourish in a relatively confined area. Civilizations first appeared in Mesopotamia, what we call as present Iraq, and later in Egypt. Civilizations thrived in the Indus Valley by about 2500 BCE, in China by about 1500 BCE, and in Central America, what is now we call Mexico, by about 1200 BC. Civilizations ultimately developed on every continent except Antarctica, because Antarctica is a continent where till now no human inhabitant is found. Now let's see some of the definitions given by anthropology and archaeological anthropologists. In anthropology, Robert Redfield is the first to give a logical and scientific definition of the term civilization. He is known as founder of civilizational school of anthropological thought. To him, civilization is a complex whole of great and little traditions. Thus, civilization has many dimensions, such as great and little traditions, as well as tribal, rural, and urban culture. He also viewed civilization as worldview, ethos, temperament, value system, cultural personality, etc. To cultural evolutionists like Taylor, Morgan, and McLennan, the civilization is the most developed form of culture or society. According to them, culture or society has passed through the successive stages of development in sequence. What I have mentioned earlier, savagery, barbarism, and civilization. And to deputists like Perry, Smith, Grover, and Boas, or Whistler, civilization is a developed stage of mankind in history which was marked by introduction of agriculture, irrigation, writing, art, architecture and monument making, and use of developed technology. According to Eric Wolf, civilizations are cultural interaction zones pivoted upon a hegemonic tributary society central to each zone. Such hegemony usually involves the development of an ideological model by successful centralizing elite of surplus takers, which is replicated by other elites within the wider political economic orbit of interaction. Winnick's Dictionary of Anthropology defines civilization as a degree of fairly advanced culture in which the arts and sciences are well developed. Thus, civilization has been defined and understood in a number of ways in a situation when there is no widely accepted standard definition. Sometimes it is used synonymously with a term culture. Civilization can also be referred to society as a whole. Now let's see the third part of my discussion, that is characteristics of civilization. V. Gordon Child and Charles Redman have segregated the characteristics of civilization into two major groups. One is primary characteristics, which they considered essential, and the second one, secondary characteristics, which they said it is likely to be. Primary characteristics are those characteristics which is very much essential to be in any civilization. And on the other hand, secondary characteristics are those characteristics which is not so necessary to be in any civilization. Some civilizations might have and others may not. So they said essential characteristics are urban settlements, full-time specialists not involved in agricultural activities, concentration of surplus production, class structure, state-level organization, and secondary characteristics they mention about monumental public building, extensive trading networks, standardized monumental artwork, writing system, development of exact sciences like arithmetic, astronomy, algebra, etc. So finally, I will summarize my presentation that a civilization is a complex culture in which large numbers of human beings share a number of common elements. It is a complex society that first grew from the development of cities after the Neolithic Revolution that brought far-reaching changes to human life resulting from the beginning of farming. It is a form of human culture in which many people live in urban centers, have mastered the art of smelting metals, and have developed a method of writing, as we have seen in the characteristics of civilization. The first civilizations began in cities, which were larger, more populated, and more complex in their political, economic, and social structure than Neolithic villages. One definition of civilization requires that a civilized people have a sense of history, meaning that the past counts in the present. Here are some of the references I have used or I have cited in my presentation. So thank you very much.